If you're watching this, you know you're in Antrazuk and we have this cooled cake which needs to be frosted today. That's right, we need to cool it down completely, and I feel keeping it overnight to cool in the cake pan is a wonderful way of making sure that you have everything ready to go in the morning. So today is the birthday, and today we will start the process of frosting. Having freshly made homemade cakes is one of the best ways to ring in any birthday. So if you're cutting the cake in the evening today, then the morning is the right time for you to start frosting. So we start the process by whisking room temperature butter in a stand mixer. The butter should be frothy and foamy at the end of it. It took me almost like 7 to 8 minutes to get it to here. As you can see, this peak is standing up. So this is really nice and fluffy right now. Now I'll add some icing sugar into this. I have added just 3/4 of a cup of icing sugar. This is a 1/4 cup measurement, and I'm gonna add 3 cups of it. But really the amount of sugar depends on your own taste. Mix everything very well for about 3 to 4 minutes. Make sure to scrape off the sides of the mixer so that everything gets mixed evenly. Also add a little bit of vanilla for good flavor. I have again used my vanilla bean paste. Taste it for seasoning. If you want it a little more sweeter, add some more sugar. But for me, this measurement works like crazy. Now till the time we are ready to frost the cake, refrigerate this buttercream. Now let's talk of some beginner level tools to frost a cake. It's very simple. All you need is a palette knife, or rather a beautiful looking knife which is blunt in nature. Palette knife which has a curved edge to it, just like this. It's just easier to reach the nooks and crannies of the cake with this kind of edge. You need a brush with a silicone brushing top so that we can brush on some sugar syrup to lock the moisture of the sponge cake. And you need a cake board like this. It's optional, but if you have it, it's going to be way more easier to cut and transfer the cake from the refrigerator to the plate. Now this one is a very important tool. You need to have it. This is basically a cake stand which is made of plastic and it moves around like so. It's a revolving cake stand and it really helps in frosting the cake beautifully, as you will see in some time. So this one is a very inexpensive investment, but please make it if you wish to frost cakes for celebrations. Before we touch the cake, we will start with making a simple sugar syrup. I'll just mix in a few splashes of water with some sugar. I have used almost 2 to 3 tablespoons of it. There is enough sugar in the cake, so we don't need to sweeten it as much. This step is just to lock the moisture of the sponge cake so that it stays fresh for a week in the refrigerator and still tastes so soft and airy. So that's the only reason why we are making this sugar syrup. Now I'm gonna just pop it in the microwave for about 30 seconds to a minute till the time my sugar is completely dissolved. Let it cool completely. So while my sugar syrup is cooling, let's work on the cake. Let's take it out of the pan carefully. Now because we have sprayed the pan and then covered it with some cocoa powder, it would not be very difficult to take it out. So before we remove the bottom part of the cake pan, I will even out the top layer with a serrated braid knife. Just go back and forth with your knife slowly and with a steady hand. Don't worry, you will be able to get it. Once you have reached from one edge to the other, now just take a simple plate like so and topple the cake over. Now carefully take the serrated knife or palette knife and remove the bottom part of the cake pan. So this part is going to be our top part. But for now, I'm gonna keep it on the cake stand and take off the cake bits from the top. Try to even it out as much as you can. Once you're happy with it, we'll put the cake board, the cardboard cake board on top and then flip once again. This is the last flip, trust me on this. I know this looks like a big technical flipping session, but trust me, this way you will end up with the best edge on top all the time. So now we've got our cake sitting perfectly on the cake board over the cake stand and our cooled sugar syrup. Now with the help of the silicone brush, I'm gonna brush this sugar syrup all over the cake. Once again, this is not to sweeten the cake, this is mostly to lock in the moisture of the sponge cake so that whenever you bite into the sponge cake, it tastes fresh. So please don't skip this. So now the fun part begins. Let's start by frosting the cake. Now it's been almost 20 minutes that the buttercream is sitting in the refrigerator. So it's beautifully pliable right now. So we will start with something which is called, in technical terms, crumb coat. Basically, this coat will help our cake to catch on to the crumbs. As you can see, my cake is nice and crumbly and very soft. And this is what you need in a good sponge cake. So we'll start with a crumb coat, just like you see in the video right now. Use a spatula and your palette knife to evenly distribute the buttercream all over the cake. Don't miss the sides as well. Once you're happy with the spreading of the buttercream, refrigerate the cake for about 10 to 15 minutes before you attempt to decorate it any further. Now it's time to decorate the cake. I am just going to put another layer of buttercream on the edge, not on the top. The top is very much set already and it is looking beautiful, but the edge needs a little more working to do. So very carefully I'm gonna coat it again with buttercream. And then sprinkle on some of the cake crumbs. You remember the top of the cake part that we have? So we can just crumb it and then sprinkle all around the cake. This way you will get to know that there is a chocolate cake waiting for you, which is amazing to know. And the gradient effect that it gives on the edge of the cake is really beautiful to see, as you will see in the final product. Now, frosting a cake is not a rocket science, but yes, it is festive and it is amazing. And this is a very simple beginner's way of making a festive cake. A celebration is not over without a piece of such a decadent cake. Sometimes, most of the times, whenever I make this recipe, I make it like a sandwich. I cut half the cake and then sandwich it with buttercream, like on my son's birthday. But this is my go-to recipe for any birthday or any anniversary. I hope you give it a try. If you do, don't forget to share a picture with me. If you like what you see here, then please do hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more such goodness. See you soon. Cheers.